Absolute geezers, football is almost back. We are almost allowed back into the stadium to watch our beloved non-league football teams. If you are wondering what football managers really think about what's been happening during these recent troubling times with regards to COVID and all that malarkey, congratulations, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Okay then, guys, welcome to, I'm going to say, a special episode of Football Is, and That Is What I Want. I'm really, really happy and quite chuffed, to say the least, to welcome three extremely good guests on the show. I've got Mickey Baker from Wellington Amatuers, who is very stressed at the moment because at this point in time Liverpool are losing to Fulham in the league, but we'll get to that in a minute. I've got Dean Gill from Bilston Town. Really excited to speak to you today, Dean. It's been a while, actually, mate. Not since last season, I don't think, actually. And then we've got Declan Allen of Shawbury United. I'm going to say it, fantastic season so far, mate. But I'll go into that a bit more in a minute. As I said, Mickey Baker, Wellington Amatuers gaffer in the Regional Division 1, 11th at the moment. Scored a few goals this season. A couple of decisions gone against, as we've spoke about in the past. One of the top teams last season before the season was sadly cancelled there. So I'm really happy to have you on, Mickey. Thanks for joining us, mate.
Thank you, buddy. Thanks for the invite.
Brilliant stuff. Dean Gill, again, as I said, Bilston Town, fantastic season last season. Such a tight defence last season. I was a very big advocate of that. I love watching the way you play football, mate. I always big you up to everyone and say if you've got a game to go watch the weekend, go watch the way Dean Gill's teams play. They're fantastic. Having a really good season start this season, 4th in the table. In fact, I think 2 games in hand on Shifnal, if I'm not mistaken, to go level if you win them. So thanks for coming on, mate.
No problem. Good to be here.
And then we've got Declan Allen of Shawbury United. Really good season so far, mate. It's been a work in progress. This actually, I remember coming to watch your pre-season last season against Feckenham, I think it was. Was it Feckenham?
It was, yeah.
Really good start to the season for you guys. 3rd in the league, played 8, won 5, drawn 1, lost 2. And also the good news recently that you're going to be going home finally to Shawbury, which is fantastic. Thanks for coming on, mate.
No, it's a pleasure, Dan. You've always spoke highly of us, so it's nice to be here.
Brilliant. Look, I'm going to get into it, and as I said, this is such a good opportunity for you guys to have a conversation about what's been going on and to really give back a little bit to the fans out there as well. So I'm going to address the elephant in the room and say it straight away. The lockdown being what it's been an absolute nightmare. Thought we'd seen the last of it. Thought we were back to playing football. Then we get the postponement again the end of October, and then we get put into this horrible tiered system, which I'm still wrapping my head around at the moment. I don't understand how they even pick where the tiers are, and it gets delayed again down to a vote. Now, obviously, I'm not asking for who voted for what, but what was your thoughts on this whole voted system, and where do you see it finishing, Dean?
Look, we voted to play. I don't hide that fact. I think what they've done this week in allowing some supporters back in enables that to happen. I don't think football's the problem here, and I think there's more benefits from the football than any negative that there possibly be. You know, if you go to most clubs now, most games, I've been to a few. And everyone's adhering to what should be adhered to. So football should carry on for me. We've a strong history in this country of, in adversity, manning up. And as far as I'm concerned, this is a time when we should all come together and we have to be safe. I understand that. Respect you. I understand that. But, we can, this show has to go on as far as I'm concerned. And I've not been shy in saying that.
It's frustrating because, and I'll come to you in a second, Declan, about this. The frustrating thing for me is you go up town centre and you see hundreds of people queuing outside Primark, no social distancing. it's been well documented on social media that this is happening, but it seems, as always, football always seems to get the bum rap of it. What was your thoughts with it when it comes to obviously the tiered system and then having to postpone it, Dec?
I mean, we're in a tier 2 based on the location of where we play out of, but we've got players that are in the tier 3 zones. So for us, it was always a bit sketchy.
Yeah.
And the fact that the FA guidance and the league guidance varied, I think it wasn't clear for anybody involved.
Okay.
But from our perspective, for the league to be postponed, hopefully just for the 2 weeks, it just gives us 2 weeks there to work with the players after not having them on the pitch for 4 or 5 weeks. It just gives us a short amount of time to prepare for the league campaign again. I think any more than 2 weeks, it's pointless. I don't see why anyone would want to be not playing league football after 2 weeks of being out of a lockdown. It's crazy.
It's frustrating, especially for, as I say, you've had a great start to the season. Dean as well there with regards to where your league aspirations are. It's stop-start. It's stop-start again, isn't it? And there's I don't know if you've seen on Twitter today, there's been a league, I think it's up near Hull, that's been completely cancelled now. They're starting again next season. I just really hope that doesn't come round here. What about you, Mickey? I mean, with regards to last season, you'd had such a good season. I remember coming to watch you in that absolute stunning game against Droitwich Spa, the 3-3 game there. What were you, with regards to the decision for the postponement, what was your thoughts on it?
I mean, I can understand why they've done it. It's obviously a little bit different for myself and NAMS than it is for Bilston and Shawbury, because obviously they're classed as non-league because of Step 6.
Yeah.
So those guys are allowed to travel between tiers. So the only reason why a lot of them voted against the restart was the fact they couldn't have no fans. And I know that Dean was really against that, because at the end of the day, football with or without fans, you still got to play games. Otherwise, we're just going to end up with a huge backlog.
Yeah.
But obviously with us, the current predicament is we're in tier 2. 14 of the teams, at 14 out of the 18 teams in Division 1 are in tier 3.
Yeah.
And they can't travel in and out. So I don't know why it's different at Step 7 than it is at Step 6. It doesn't make you more prone to catch the virus if you're in Step 7 than you are Step 6. It's a bit like you can travel, you can do youth football, but you can't do the adults classes as well. Who's going to take the youth footballers to their games?
Yeah.
Adults are.
Yeah.
So there's just a few odd decisions that kind of made me scratch my head a little bit. But I can totally understand at the end of the day, main priority is people's safety. But I think Dean said at the start, the games that I've been at, and I can only speak for ourselves as well, we've gone above and beyond to make sure that, everything's really crystal clear, one-way systems in clubhouses and stuff like that. And yeah, it's frustrating. I'm not going to lie. I had a period of 3 or 4 weeks during lockdown where I just thought, I'm not really missing this. The chasing the lads constantly on. But then I thought I need to give myself a bit of a kick up the backside. And then obviously got back into training and stuff. And then you start getting the buzz again. And then played Shifnal Tuesday, had a real good performance. And all of a sudden, you're buzzing for it again. But I can feel for those teams who are struggling to get friendlies and stuff like that. It is really frustrating. And there's depending on what the government say on Wednesday, I don't know really whether when we're going to see any kind of restart date for us. Anyway, I think the Step 6 guys might be a little bit different, but.
Well, they've come out this week, haven't they, Mickey, and said that tier 3 clubs can now have spectators. So I don't see any reason why
they can't travel in and out.
Why we can't travel in and out, and why we can't resume.
It's
the only thing that I can think. Sorry, mate. The only thing that I can think of is obviously that with those 3 leagues, one of them being the West Mids Prem disappearing. Obviously, they weren't meant to be here this season because it was null and void. The FA, their main priority is getting those 3 leagues and the promotion and relegation places between those 3 leagues sorted out. And until they do, I'm not sure whether Step 7 is going to take priority. I think they're going to prioritise just getting Step 6 and getting the games finished. And then if they can do Step 7, great. If not, then can see it ended up going like points per game or something. There's teams in our league that have only played 3 league games.
Yeah. It's been a frustration, and you don't. What I don't get, and you know, Dean will probably be the same with this. Actually, I should imagine is the whole lockdown. The first time, it was nobody had a clue what to do. It was unknown. I mean, the last time, other than bad weather, that a league campaign was stopped was the war. So they didn't really have the rule book for this. But you'd like to have thought that second time round, they'd have got their act together and had a plan in place, and it just seems like they really haven't. They've just been fumbling and bumbling their way through, haven't they? Really?
Yeah, I'm probably not the best one in relation to that, in as much as it's a really, really difficult situation. The top and bottom of it is, you know, the FA. I think it's difficult for the FA. I think our West Midlands League couldn't have done any more than they've done. But ultimately, when we were asked whether we wanted to start playing football again, and the majority of clubs didn't want to play. Now, I understand the financial situation. I'm not an idiot. I understand it and I respect it. But it was only ever for a short. We all can see. We can read. Everybody in football, in like all walks of life, if you want to, you can find a reason not to do anything. You can say, "Well, I don't quite understand this. I don't quite understand the other." But we're not politicians, and you know, top and bottom of it is we end up, if you're in football, a lot of the times you have to find a way through many issues. This is just another issue. It's nothing. It shouldn't be something that stops us getting to where we need to get to long term. We have to respect what's happening, understand what's happening. But if everybody actually wants to finish the season, or let's get as far as we can, and if this season goes over 2 seasons, it doesn't really matter. If they'd done that last year, if they just held the season last year and this year we carry on, eventually we can't keep null and voiding things. It's just not. There's no need, and there's nothing to be gained by it either. So I just think everybody has to want it, I guess. So it's okay, everybody moaning about the FA and moaning about their individual leagues. But I guess everybody, in my opinion, is to look inside themselves and say, am I doing everything I can to get this football up and running again? That's my view.
It's a frustrating thing, and it kind of actually ties into my next point that I wanted to go over was when they do finally restart the league, and hopefully it is this weekend. And Mickey, I'm really praying that hopefully you guys get back up and running as well. Games are going to be coming thick and fast. Now, the biggest problem is we've all seen the weather today. It's been absolutely tonking it down. We're at that time of the year again now where we as Brits suffer horrendously with weather. Now, my worry is, and again, I'm a spectator. I've only just joined the non-league scene, so you guys have a lot more experience than me. But the feeling I've got is that weather plays such a big role in cancelling games, and with COVID being around, and as we say, it's probably not going anywhere for a long time fast. What's the worry with regards to postponements? We want to get this season finished. I know there was talk of perhaps them extending the season. I don't know. But what are your worries with regards to that? I'll go to you first, Dec, with regards to
that. To be honest, for us, selfishly, it suits us better because postponements I get, and we went through a really bad patch last season over sort of Christmas period where I think we played one game in about 6-7 weeks, which was ridiculous. And you can put that down to a freak winter, but we would rather play Saturday and Tuesday 2 or 3 times a month over the space of a couple of months and catch up, because as we sort of proved in the beginning of this season, I think we've played more games than anybody else. Momentum can build if it's going the right way.
Yeah.
If it's on the flip side, it gives you an opportunity in a quick turnaround to regroup and go again.
Yeah.
You know, when you're winning. Yeah, when you're winning and games are coming thick and fast, confidence builds very quickly. And when you do lose a couple of games, you're waiting 3 days for the turnaround, and you're not waiting 7 days to pick the lads up and go again.
We still got like 23 Tuesdays in our calendar. If they extend it to the end of May, it's not even a problem. It's just, like I say, everybody can be as dramatic as they want about the situation. Top and bottom of it is, our league, West Midlands League, we still got like between 15 and 20 Tuesdays free. So it's nothing new. It's nothing new. There's a fixture backlog. Okay, so there is. Let's get over it. Let's get on. Let's get positive. Let's get the fixtures booked in. And if we have to play the last month 2-3 times a week, so be it. That's football. That's what we're in it for. You know, everything isn't perfect. It never has been perfect. You know, so let's not look for it to be perfect and blame everybody else for it not being perfect.
See what you mean. What do you reckon to that, Mickey? What's your thoughts on the whole situation there?
Well, we haven't played on our pitch in 6 weeks, and last Wednesday it was still waterlogged. That's how bad the rain's been. We're due to play on it on Tuesday night, so obviously the weather's always a concern. Our pitch doesn't take the water great anyway, so yeah, that is a concern. But I'd say more a concern is what was happening beforehand as well, because we were being advised by the FA that if there was any suspected COVID cases or anything like that, then that person should be isolated and the game should go ahead. But then the league was saying, we advise that the game gets called off. So I think, you know, and I'll happily say this, and a bit controversial, I'm pretty sure teams were using it if they had a few players missing as an excuse to call games off. And then as a result now, there's a big backlog of fixtures. My concern is obviously, yeah, you're going to get weather and potentially more COVID cases. What happens then? You know, you are going to have a big backlog. I'm like Dean though, like, you know, and similar to what Dex says as well, you get momentum, you just want games. Yeah. On the flip side, is obviously you've got lads, gone are the days of the 9 till 5 Monday to Friday job, and there's a lot of lads that might work shifts and stuff, so you're going to have to be swapping and changing a lot of players. So having a big squad and committed lads is going to be massive, really, and that's where that's going to come in handy, like towards the end of the season, I think, because you could potentially be playing. It wouldn't surprise me if you see some teams playing Saturday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday.
Sorry. But I think the point is, successful sides, certainly at our level, who enter numerous cups, successful sides will play a lot of games come the end of the season. Yeah. It's normal. It's not abnormal. It's whether you can embrace that and be positive about it, or it's very, very easy if you want to never to play a game again this year. Very easy. There's a million reasons why not to. But I guess it's our job to find the reasons why to, and be positive. And what we've got to remember, this isn't just about us as managers or the clubs. I mean, most clubs have got supporters, they've got players. You know, we've got an obligation to the community to get things up and running as safely and practical as we can. This is not saying we should do anything that's not safe. I'm not suggesting that, but I think we all know that. We all know if we really want to, we can get this running properly. As it was before, there was never massive issues with football. Once we come out of lockdown, for the first 3 or 4 months, it went to treat. It was going to treat. And if every club would have been allowed to bring in, as it was before, 20% of their gate, I don't think we've had an issue at all.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I mean, this is something you said there before, Dean. And actually, I was a big advocate for this when the first lockdown happened. Was the whole, why did we need to suspend? Why did we need to cancel the season? Why couldn't we have just sort of go in and see what? But then the flip side of that is one thing I've noticed. I don't know if you guys have noticed the same here, is the interest in non-league football since this lockdown. I think it's grown a bit. I think because people aren't able to go watch their teams. I've seen a lot more when I've been going to games. A lot more fans at these games. Have you guys seen the benefits of these as well?
Not us personally, because we're 50 miles away from home. But I see it all on Twitter. I see it on social media, and when we've been travelling away, certainly before this lockdown, we've seen an increase certainly in home supporters than what there was last year. And I think there's been an increase sort of following, as I say, on social media, where people are, really more interested in what's going on with the local clubs, especially prior to this 2,000 fans at elite games. Yeah. We were seeing more people certainly engaging online.
Yeah, it's good to. What about you, Mickey? Were you getting more down there? Because I remember the game I come to watch you guys against Droitwich, you were doing that. I think it was Telford season ticket holders, if they're playing away, get them in and come and watch us. Have you seen anything off the back of that? Well,
fortunately one of the last home games I think we played was against Gornal Athletic, and they've got quite a big following. So the game was reversed because they couldn't play at their ground because it's something to do with COVID and the committee. So we reversed it, and I think we had our largest gate. I think we had over 150 people, but they just had like a big mob that drunk us dry, and we took like over 400 quid behind the bar. So as a Step 7 club, that's probably, I think we took close to 600 quid over the, you know, on the course of the day. Obviously, once we paid officials, probably 400 quid or so. So, you know, that's big for us on a Saturday afternoon. Like, obviously, we play in Oakengates. Yeah, we go by Wellington names, so it's not always easy getting the locals from Wellington, because first and foremost they support Telford United.
Yeah,
but I know there's been a few Telford season ticket holders and that, because I see it on Twitter when they reply and whatnot. So yeah, I think it's good for people's mental health more than anything. Just if there's no football on, and they can only watch it on the TV, they want a little bit of normality in their lives. That goes for the players as well. They just want to get back out there. Sick and tired of going shopping with the wives, I think. And DIY.
I think that ties into this to the next question. And, you know, a lot of people talk about players' mentality, the players' mentality. How are they getting on? How are you keeping them going? But nothing's really asked about you guys, about the gaffers, about, you know, the managers. I mean, you've obviously got to provide that strong point, and you've got to lead and show them, you know, everything's going to be okay. As Dean said, you know, if you want to find a way, you'll find a way, and install that belief. But how has this affected you guys mentally? You know, stop, start. Dean, I'll start with you.
I think it's a good question, and I think this last lockdown period has probably been the most difficult. I think you set yourselves up as a manager at the start of pre-season with a message to your players. You set a tone. You have a plan. So you put all that in place, and players, I believe, can only absorb so much. So you go at them hard. We get them fit. We work them hard. We get ready. We let them know what we expect from them and what we want for the season. So I think you can only have that mental push once really a year. We did it the once, and we have a great pre-season. We fly into the league, then all of a sudden we stop again. So then it's how do we re-energise everybody's mentality? Because it's all mentality. It's not as much as there's physical. The majority of it is all mentality. But how can we mentally make sure the lads, when they start, whether it be the 19th or next week or the week after, start with the same energy and the same thirst for the game as we started with in August. So for me, it's like, I've never had this stop-start so much. So we've had to try and find other ways to make sure the lads are okay, but ultimately ready for football. You know, so yeah, difficult. I think it's a good question, and I do think it's difficult.
What about you, Dak?
No, similar lines really. I mean, we started pre-season, and at the time we started pre-season, we didn't know when the season was going to start. So there was always that unknown when we were planning and preparing, and it's been very similar over the last 4 weeks. For us, you know, we'd started the season well, and as I said before, momentum was beginning to build, and for us to stop, it's a bit of kick in the backside in that regard, because now we've got to go again, and you can look at every single team in our league and say, well, really, form goes out the window.
Yeah,
everyone's got to get up and go again, and that's the players and the management and everyone else that's involved. You know, we keep tabs on the boys, and we've been doing Zoom sessions and online stuff with players and keeping them motivated as much as we can. But nothing's the same as actually crossing that white line, and playing a competitive game and getting what we want out of that fixture. You know, we can play friendlies over these last couple of weeks. We can train, but it's not the same as saying, you know, it is 3 points at stake, or is a cup game, and trying to get the most out of that 90 minutes as we possibly can.
And that's as you say there, you touched on that. Great start to the season. Ideally, you want to keep the good times rolling. You want to keep the boys into it. You want them, you know, ready and prepared for the games that are coming thick and fast. And as you say, it stops. You've got to work so hard, haven't you, to keep the lads interested. Well, not interested. Of course, they're interested, but keep them invested and keep getting you know, your plans across for the season. Keep them believing in the vision that you've got there, and you know, to go. Oh, Christ, it's been 6 weeks, hasn't it? Nearly, I think. Is it 6 weeks? 7 weeks since the last game. It's got to be tough. You know, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. It's a really tough job. What about you, Mickey?
Yeah, it's not been easy. Like I said, it's not necessarily, I wasn't struggling, but almost just like, do I miss chasing up 20, 25 lads for an answer as to whether they're available? Do I miss organising, training, stuff like that? It's, so you almost take a little bit of a back seat. And then, I just thought, well, the lads, to be fair, were keeping themselves ticking over.
Yeah.
Most of them. Some of them I know for a fact just didn't do a thing.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to criticise them for doing that because, most of them might have family, stuff like that, so they might just be using the weekends or whatever just to spend a little bit more time with the families and whatever. So, but, they know that football's on the horizon again. And like I said, if the training sessions and then the performance last Tuesday was anything to go by, then hopefully if we get the right decision midweek, we can kick a ball again on Saturday competitively and we'll be ready to go. But yeah, it's not been easy, but I think it's probably been more difficult for the players, to be honest, because they're the ones that get out there and give us the blood, sweat, and tears for 90 minutes.
I think, and I'll come back to you guys with this. There's this idea, and I've learned this, as I said. There's this idea that you guys just turn up on a Sunday and that's it. Sunday, on a Saturday, Tuesday, whatever day you're playing, and you just put the team sheet, that's it, it's done. But people don't realise the work that goes in behind the scenes for you guys. It's not just, let's be honest, it's a tough job. It's a tough ask to keep going and keep going and keep going. I've been to each three of you's games. I've not been to a home game for Shawbury yet, but I've been to the other two. And I see how much hard work gets put in. It's not a case of just picking the team and that's it. So I don't think a lot of people really understand that, do they, guys, to be honest?
I think in non-league football, I think there's an appreciation now of what goes on. I don't think everyone does the same amount of work. I think that's for sure. But if you're doing your job not right, because that's not fair. But to do it well, that's probably the point. Some people probably don't have the time to do it as well as they'd like, but it's probably at least 20, 25 hours a week. And that's, as a minimum, I would imagine. If you take it from training to, look, it's not, I wouldn't want to add the hours up. It is a big commitment, but it's a great commitment.
Yeah. Mickey, just so you know, mate, I scored 5 this morning in 5-a-side. So if you need a player, mate, I am local to the area. I'm getting into physical. My physical presence is really starting to show. So I'm here if you need me, mate. All right.
Didn't you tell me you were number 9 as well?
Oh, well, once I was. I wasn't this morning.
and number 9's banned for 3 games, mate. So I'll give you a call after.
Spot on. I'll get the boots out. Now, with regards to we've touched on this before, but with the whole stop-start nature of this season and last season, has this had any effect on your plans for the season going ahead? Have you had to sort of reevaluate, little checkpoints throughout the season, or are you still pretty much gunning ahead with what you need to do? We'll go to you first, Mickey.
Well, we've to be fair, this season so far has probably been my most difficult because I lost probably near enough a whole squad over pre-season. So I've had to put a lot of trust in youth. They're only going to get better, but to expect them to hit the ground running and start winning every game, realistically, it's not going to happen. So I've just got to try and get attitudes and commitment there, and I think performances will then come. We haven't started great, but I don't think we've played as bad as what results might suggest. We played some of the better teams in the league. I think we just got to trust ourselves and, go out there with, look, let's just give it our best shot. And who knows where we'll end up. I think Deck's guys are probably a perfect example. He had probably similar to what I'm going through now last season. And, he's reaping the benefits like 12, 18 months later. So just literally got to keep going and plugging away. I've managed to pick up a few lads over the last 6 to 7 weeks that hopefully should strengthen us, and they seem to have fit in quite well. They're quite active in the chat and busy, so fingers crossed, mate. It'll have a positive impact on results.
Fantastic, mate. What about you, Dak? I'll come to you next.
No, I think, Mickey's touched on it there. We had a very young group last season, and we fluttered a lot of the season with sort of the teams down in the relegation battle. Although I felt we put in some very good performances last year, we've obviously had to be realistic with our expectations this season, COVID or no COVID. So at the moment where we are, we're probably exceeding, what we thought we would do in terms of a position. But for us, the realistic target at the start of the season was to not be in the same position as we were last year, to improve on that. And if we can be in and around those, top 6, top 8, come the sort of last couple of months of the season, then who knows what can happen. But for us, we're realistically not a top 4 side at the moment. But while we're up there and while we're pushing for it, there's no reason why we can't see that and keep it within our grasps.
It's almost take each game as it comes, really, isn't it? Just take each game as it comes, attack it, and get ready.
It is, but as I say, we've got to be realistic. We were down there last year, so we can't say in a summer's work that suddenly we're going to be a top 4 side.
Yeah.
We by all means, I believe in the squad of players that we got, and I believe in us to do very well this season. But as you say, we've got to take each game as it comes and build on everything that we do right. And when it goes wrong, what's the reaction going to be?
Spot on. What about you, Dean?
Yeah, nothing changes. Just touching on Deck, I think it's really important. Deck's, I think he undersells himself a little bit there. Deck's a good manager. So where his team are and what they're doing is absolutely just testament to him. That's a fact. I said it last year when the team was struggling. He's probably top 3 managers in our league easily. So where they are is not a surprise to me, and I don't think it's a surprise to him. He's underselling himself a little bit, I think. Merry Christmas, Dick.
Fine games.
And we all know where sort of which direction you guys are going to be heading, Dean. As you said, it's a football team that I've been very vocal about in the past. Played very good football. I love the way you guys set up, and I love the fact, as I said before, you do always have that plan B, plan C there ready to use if you need it. So it's pretty much the same as last season, I reckon, for you, mate.
Well, other than we're not at the same club, if they'd rolled the season over, we'd probably still been at Kazzies, as they haven't. We're obviously at Bilston now. Look, we plan to achieve. That's it. So yeah, nothing's changed for us. Nothing at all. We can't allow it to, because I think the minute you see it in our league, and a lot of people say, "Oh, it's an easy league. That is all. It's not a great league." Well, that's okay. But then you look at some of the good sides, zoom down the bottom half of our league. It's not easy. It's not a case of just turning up and putting a shirt on and you get 3 points. It's not easy. So we plan to achieve as much as we can.
Said it before, and do you know what? I say this about the league you're in as well, Mickey, as well. Anyone can beat anyone on their day in these divisions. There's some really tough games there, and I mentioned it before when I went to watch Wednesfield against Shifnal earlier this season, and I went there expecting Shifnal to put 3 or 4 past them, and Wednesfield just got in their faces, and they had a game plan, and boy, did they execute it. And it just shows how tough these games are and how tough the leagues are. And I cannot wait, and I speak for everyone here, I cannot wait to get back into these games and watching you guys, because I haven't been to any of you this season. I'm really looking forward to coming over and sampling some games. But what I will finish it on, Mickey, I'll go with you first. Anything that you want to say to the Amis supporters there? All right, the season coming up.
Just stick with us. Be patient. Seems like we're always good value. If we lose, we seem to lose by like a ridiculous scoreline, like a 5-4 or a 5-3 or something. So always plenty of goals, which we've got to we sort out. But yeah, we sell decent beer, and it's not too expensive to get in.
Spot on.
And they're a decent bunch of lads, and we'll look after you if you come and visit as well.
Spot on. To you, Dak?
No, for us, as I said before, it's slightly different because we're a long way from home. So the big thing for the supporters of Shawbury this year has been the fact that we're going home, and that new ground being on the horizon. I'm seeing all the hard work that the guys behind the scene are doing, which goes uncredited a lot of the time, and that's the same at every single club. So they're working their socks off at the moment to get that ground ready and in place, and hopefully we can be there for next season. And for the supporters in the local community, that's big for Shawbury United, and it's big for, as the guys have touched on before, mental health, and to give people a bit of a welcome in and something to do on a Saturday afternoon, and that's massive for both club and village, really.
Spot on. And then Dean.
Yeah, I mean, the supporters of Bilston have been magnificent. When we played, the legend. When we played Shawbury, we had I think 185. When we played Wensfield, it was over 250. And a lot of clubs have people who go and follow them, and they've got other clubs, or they support the Wolves or the Villa and somebody. But at Bilston, there are genuine football supporters who their only team they support is Bilston, and it's really good and motivational as a manager and for players that people genuinely want to come, genuinely want to watch you, and genuinely want you to do well and support you. So yeah, we wish them Merry Christmas. They just need to come, keep doing what they're doing, and we'll try our best to keep doing what we're doing. Stay safe, I guess.
I really appreciate you guys taking the time. It's a Sunday evening. You've probably got stuff to do. So I really appreciate you taking the time to come on and speak to me tonight. I've really enjoyed it, and I think it's going to be something that people listening / watching are going to really enjoy. It's nice to get the perspective of the managers as opposed to just going to the fans and to the players. It's been really interesting, an insight into the whole mental situation about how you guys have had to keep going throughout this. All three of you are a testament to your clubs. Fantastic managers. You all put the work in, and I really, from the bottom of my heart, wish you all the success for the rest of the season. And I can't wait to come and see you all soon.
Cheers, lads.
Cheers.
I appreciate that, Dan.